Assalamu alaikum friends and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Sikandar Kori. So let's start our topic. Today in this video we are going to talk about some terms that we usually use in genetics. So first of all, what is the gene and allele? Gene is the basic unit of inheritance, meaning that the genetic material is transmitted in form of units, and those units are called gene, and the inheritance of one complete gene takes place but not the portion of that single gene. And these genes are consist of sequence of nucleotides, either deoxyribonucleotides or ribonucleotides in case of viruses, and this sequence of nucleotides found to have a specific position on chromosome, and thus gene position on chromosome is called locus. We also know that chromosome carry many genes, so they have many loci along the length of chromosomal threads. One of the most important thing about the gene is that this sequence of nucleotides specify the viable product, and the product in this case is protein, which lead to the appearance of trait in an organisms. We have to note one thing here, that there are huge number of sequences like repetitive sequences in human DNA, and those sequences do not specify a product. So gene is the basic unit of inheritance, consisting of a sequence of nucleotides that occupy a specific position called locus on chromosome, and this sequence of nucleotide encode or specify a viable product. So suppose we have a plant that produce seed with round shape, and this plant inherit two copies from its parent, one from each parent, capital R copy from its round seed shaped plant, and small r copy from its female plant that produce wrinkle shaped seed. So this plant inherits two copies for a gene, and both of these copies specify the shape of the seed. In this case, capital R specify the round shape of the seed, small r specify the wrinkled shape of the seed. So these alternative forms of a same gene is called allele. So now individual can have two identical copies for a gene. So in this case they are called homozygote, because they have a pair of identical alleles for a gene. Individual may have two different copies for a gene. So in this regard they are called heterozygote, because they contain two different alleles for a gene. So now these are the genetic makeup of these organisms, and this genetic makeup is called genotype, and this genotype leads to the appearance of physical trait in an organisms, in this case round shape of the seed and wrinkled shape of the seed. So this physical appearance is called phenotype of an organism. So what is the phenotype? It is the observable traits or characteristics of an organisms which are determined by underlying genetic makeup or genotype. If we talk further about alleles, then alleles may have two types. It can be dominant and it can be recessive. We have plant that produce round shaped seeds, and this plant have two identical copies for a gene, and due to the presence of these alleles they produce round shaped seed. So in this case capital R is the dominant allele, because this allele determines the appearance of an organism, in this case this plant. We have another plant that produce wrinkle shaped seed, and this plant also have two identical alleles. So in this case small r is the dominant allele, because this allele determine the wrinkled shape of the seed. We have another plant that also produce round shape of the seed, and this plant is heterozygote because this contain two different alleles. Capital R is a dominant allele because this allele determines the round shape of the seed in this plant, and small r allele has no noticeable effect on the appearance of this organism, in this case this plant. So from all these observations, allele which has no noticeable effect on the appearance of an organism in a heterozygote is called recessive allele. So this is all about today's topic. Thank you for watching our video, and please like, share and subscribe to our channel.